How's everybody out there? Are you okay, yeah? Yeah, you want to hear my story, mate? You know, I'll shake you up a bit. You'd be like laughing your head off after you've seen this thing.
If you don't have a stable home, you are more likely to experience loneliness. You're more likely to experience lack of what we call self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the belief that I have the ability to change my life. What I do could improve things for myself. And if you don't have self-efficacy, it is really, really difficult to do things that could improve your situation.
Being homeless affects people incredibly on a day-to-day basis mentally. You have loneliness, you have severe depression from everything that's gone wrong in your life. Often they're not medicated, they're not under a doctor, they're not seeking help. And that has to be encouraged as far as we can.
When you are constantly living in survival mode, you are trying to escape the things that are very difficult. So you're either going to be trying to suspend reality in some way, so you're going to be using substances that help you to do that. But also, if you have low self-esteem because of what you are sensing and living in that survival mode, you're probably going to suspend that ability to see yourself as part of a community.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and the story of how you became homeless?
So, my name is Monica. I became homeless when I was 22, but I was brought up in the care system from the age of 13. So when I was 22, I was sleeping under a bush by the Churchill Hospital. I was there for about 6 weeks when the police found me and took me to a hostel, which was, quite daunting. It's quite daunting being a woman sleeping out on the street. You're always got to be very vigilant around who's around you, especially men trying to pick you up for sexual favours or offering you a place to stay for sexual, that you can offer them sex if they let you stay at their place. So it was very daunting times, being 22, sleeping on the streets, being brought up in the care system, not having role models around to guide me, not knowing where I was going to get food, not knowing where I was going to get a shower, not knowing where I was going to get clean clothes, not sleeping properly because you're always sleeping with one eye open because of being a female out on the streets. So my mental health really, really declined being out on the street. It was the most dramatic thing I've ever done in my life.
I was living in West Hampstead in London for 10 years. I had a flat in London for 10 years. Then one day, after 10 years later, it went that quick. The window smashed from the inside because the heating was on. And then I got an eviction notice. But like, I don't know if it's me putting a pentagram on the wall. Yeah? Anyway, that happened, and that was like 2019. And then I ended up in a hostel in King's Cross in London. And then I kept getting arrested. And then one day I got thrown out. And the past 4 or 5 years have been like this now. 3, 4, 5 years now since I left King's Cross. But I'm still using that address. You know what I mean? I might go there and pick my mail up. Hello, King's Cross. Yeah, give me my mail. Give me my mail back, yeah? And keep all the bills. But anyway, yeah, that's me. A little bit about me. I'm a homeless guy and I'm trying to rebuild my life. I don't really want to work for people. I'd like to start up my stuff myself. But you need loads of money to get your stuff together nowadays. You need like paperwork, sitting in guilds, licenses, permits. It goes on and on and on and on and on.
How has being homeless affected you mentally?
The cold gets to you, and like it affects you mentally, and like I've got a lung condition as well, and out in the cold, you cannot breathe. You just cannot breathe. Right, that's what I was saying about that. And it's got a bit scary. You end up in hospital, then you get thrown out. They take you to hospital, then they kick you out 3 a.m. in the freezing rain. I've been kicked out of the hospital so many times. You know what I mean?
Why do you think they do that?
It's not a hotel, Mark. You can't stay in here, Mark. It's not a hotel, Mark. You got to go, Mark. You're not mentally ill, Mark. And all that sort of Mark.
It was last year during the winter time. I was homeless for 3 months when I basically kept moving in Oxford from place to place with my tents, trying to stay somewhere. And I was disallowed to stay everywhere, wherever I go, by the council and other people trying to chase me basically. So yeah, that was a bad winter experience for me.
How did you end up in that situation of being homeless?
So at some point I moved close to the Port Meadow in the middle of nowhere, where I arranged a place in the middle basically of nowhere, surrounded by rubbish, by old Victorian dump. I built a little house for me there, and then the people from the council, they came, they were trying to destroy it straight away. They didn't ask me if you're okay, if you have somewhere to go. No, it was just to get rid of me. And a week later I was actually forced to go away. I had a massive belief in myself, so I knew I'm gonna be fine, and I still was coming here to the center to sell my things, and that was the happy time. But obviously when it comes to the night and it's midnight and it's -5 and you're all wet, it's like, can I really do it? Can I really still wake up tomorrow, and try to, what is the future, If you don't see the light, it's really difficult to walk through it, yeah, but yeah, now it's funny story only, but I had 3-4 days when I was thinking shall I just finish it, to be honest,
In public health, we often talk about an association, a relationship between an exposure to something and an outcome. We're very cautious about saying what causes what, because the evidence for that is quite difficult to get. And mental health in homeless groups is really difficult because sometimes people develop mental health issues in their everyday life And that results in their homelessness because they stop being able to maintain relationships, hold down a job, see the value of returning to where they were before. But homelessness also can exacerbate poor mental health or create the environment for poor mental health. So we can't just say, mental health is caused by homelessness. That's an oversimplification. In fact, a lot of people who are homeless are experiencing things like PTSD, grief, and the result of childhood trauma. And that is key part of where they've ended up at that current time.
I had a really traumatic childhood. I was put into a children's home at the age of 13 after being raped by a family friend. My mum didn't believe me, so I ended up into the children's services, which had quite an effect on me really, because I sort of become rebellious. I've become getting into trouble with people, running away from the children's home. Then at the age of 16 I went to live with my paternal grandmother, who taught me the values of life and taught me that, the right from wrong, and because I had no role model in my life at all. I had three young children, who social services took away when I was sort of like younger, because I was a young mum at that time, and they ended up taking them because my ex-partner was abusive. He was beating me all the time and nearly ended up killing me, nearly ended up killing my stepdad and my stepbrother. Instead of supporting me, like, deal with it, they just took my three children away from me. And that was hard. That was really hard in itself, because I've never seen them three children since. And then I went on to have my two boys that I've got now. And it's heart-wrenching, because I look at my two boys every day and think, what's happened to my other three children? Because social services just didn't give me any support. They took his side on everything, and but they didn't see the beatings that I got from him every day. They didn't see me being kicked and punched and battered every day, because he had a drink problem. He was an alcoholic. So they didn't see that. They didn't see that side of it. And then when I chose to leave home, and become homeless, it was the most devastating thing of all. You think at times you just wanted to end up taking your own life and not be here anymore, because then that pain would go away.
I was traumatized as a child when I was 5 by a member of family, not my parents, but a member of family. And I had a strange life similar to all these homeless people I was talking to. So what is it really? You're traumatized, you don't remember, you don't realize you're traumatized. But every time someone will try to get close to you, you're gonna run away. So I had 30 different jobs, I have 10 different long relationships, and every time, year after year, something was with me that I felt like I have to run away from this, because I didn't know I was traumatized. And then the time when I knew, crying time and trying to justify why and all these questions, it's kind of difficult, obviously. But yeah, on the end you reach the moment, and it's not just me. I know that all the soldiers from Vietnam, for example, they were treated the same way. They were taken to the nature, and many of them was trying to explain after a while that, I'm spiritually alive? Spiritually active now. That's what they felt really. But somehow, the medicine didn't go that way. We are still in the dark time, really, when we try to give pills for everything. But we don't know what is consciousness by the science. We don't know. So how can you treat it, this way?
So for you, a more nature-based form of therapy was more helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that they still do the same with, for example, people addicted of heroin. They are being sent to Wales and Scotland for the same reason. You must be connected with nature. You must see the green color, not the red, buildings and square. The sky, the blue, the water will help you. Peace, basically. Yeah? You have to reach a peaceful mind, finally.
And is that what helped you to find peace and comfort during the more difficult times?
Yeah, absolutely. If I would sit on the streets in the center, that's impossible. I would end up being like proper homeless, beggar, basically, begging for money. No, that every single tree, every plant helped me with this.
Yeah.
There is a whole branch of psychology that argues that we try and defend ourselves. And we try and defend ourselves from feeling guilty. We try and defend ourselves from bad memories. And we try and defend ourselves from feelings of vulnerability. And we do those things by changing something in our life, for good or for bad. A lot of that is often a part of becoming homelessness, because one of the ways where we can defend ourselves from these feelings is by drinking, taking alcohol. So there's a lot of evidence that people who've experienced trauma, who've experienced past trauma in the childhood, are using substances to self-medicate. And once you're doing that, then it's harder to stay control of your life.
I just feel crap all the time. I ended up being, now I'm an alcoholic probably. I don't want to be an alcoholic, but I want to get beer after I've filmed this,
Does it help you to drink?
Yeah, it does help me out, but I've been drinking since I was 18 months old, sort of, truthfully. I've been drinking on and off. When I was teenager, I was an adult. You know what I mean? So my life's been crazy, mate. Huh?
You said 18 months old or 18 years?
Yeah, I got caught in the cupboard.
Oh, wow.
I had my nappy on and everything. Bottle of Advocaat rum.
Oh my God, okay.
I've been drinking since I was a kid, so you know what I mean. But I do look after myself. Every couple of days I stop drinking and eat loads of food. I just try and keep myself together. I try and look after myself. Try and eat some garlic. Make sure you eat some fresh fruit and vegetables.
And how old were you when you started drinking?
I'll say about 10.
Okay.
10. I started drinking and smoking when I was 10.
Why was that? What caused you to do that?
Well, my mum smoked. The fags were back then were 36 pence. 36 pence. That's in the late 70s. So in the late 70s I was smoking when cigarettes were 36 pence for 10. And now they're £7.50 for 10. Same thing,
Yeah.
So that, yeah.
But did it help you back then to do that?
What, to smoke?
Yeah, and to drink.
Well, yeah, because you're a kid, innit? You got precious, you got enemies, ain't you? Your father and your mum and all things like that, Some of the things I could tell you, man, you're like, what the hell?
I think the public perception of homelessness can be very negative. I've even got friends who have said to me, oh, but they're all on drugs and alcohol. And no, they're not. We see minority coming to the gatehouse with drug or alcohol issues. And in fact, if I was homeless on the street, I'd want something to get me through the night. You can completely understand that the two can go hand in hand.
People think everybody's drug addicts, alcoholics, which is not always the case. Not everybody is a drug addict or has got an alcoholic
addiction. I mean, I know one person who has never had an addiction or has never had a drug, you know, and he got put into one of the hostels and he started using drugs for the first time when he was 43. Again, it comes down to peer pressure because you're surrounded by, you know, so there is a lot of peer pressure as well if you're in that sort of mix of friendship group.
The misconception that everybody's on drugs and alcohol is very untrue. Yes, some are, but we've seen from the Gatehouse, and I mean, over 14 years of being there, I have seen not a handful, but the majority of the guests that walk through the door are not taking alcohol or on drugs, vast majority.
Hey Jack, just wanted to add a few thoughts about trauma. I always compare it to a story of a little puppy who was abused by a human, and for the rest of his life he was running away from all people. And we are very similar. You know, once I was 8 or 9, I was caught by a stranger guy who was beating for 30-40 minutes. As a price for it, I was having the same nightmare for another 20 years. And then I woke up one day, a bit different. Well, you know, one day just woke up and I understood why I was doing all my mistakes, why I was having such a strange life. You know, at the beginning I have lost 30% of the body weight when my immunity system collapsed. I was basically living in a different world, trying to figure it out, how that happened that I didn't realize earlier. And at the same time I have become a subject of gossips, as I didn't really have contact with other people. That was the moment when I moved towards the nature. Kept surrounding myself with happy colors, happy music. And through the happiness I was trying to help myself. And it was kind of working, but I understood at the same time that I will have to move away from people in one moment, as I did. I left people, left buildings, left television, internet. And honestly, this is the happiest time in my life. Something I would never expect. You have asked me last time if I would have to say something to the people who criticize people like me. So let me answer it again. You know, if you didn't experience this kind of trauma, then just don't say anything. And I feel like there is the voice of many artists who went through the same path. Let me finish it. The words of some of the greatest songs. I want to break free. Please leave me alone. Please do not gossip. Please let it be.
Do you feel that society treats homeless people as inferior or unwanted?
Yeah, they do. You know, it's so like you're walking down the street, okay? Now you got homeless sitting on the street, you got homeless laying on the street. You got people that have got alcohol and drug addiction, yeah? Walking down the street. Oh, they are the worst kind of people. But what is the difference with students? No offence, but you get students walking down the street with their alcohol bottles. Do you see them getting told off by the police? Do you see them getting told off by them taking their bottles off of them? Oh no, because they've come from rich mummy and daddy that they don't get told off. But you see a homeless person laid out on the street with a bottle. Oh yeah, I'm going to take that off of you and tip it away. So what is the difference? Homeless people are spat on, they are kicked. I've seen homeless people being toileted on
Well,
by students, of all people, you know, and yeah, it just makes me really mad, really mad. You know, it's not fair. Why should we live in a double standard world?
do you feel that society understands the struggles of homelessness?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they do. Right. Say you walk around with 2 coats on in London, right? People look at you funny, and it's fucking freezing cold outside. You've got 2 coats on, right? Because you're outside all the time. You're fucking cold, right? But then they come out their flats and then judge you because you're wearing 2 coats. It's nothing. That's one of the things I'm gonna say. This thing won't make no sense.
I think the general public treat homeless people as the dregs of society. Not everybody, but I think a lot of them will. You see somebody on the streets, if you watch, the majority people will either, just completely ignore them or verge around them. Very few people, if you watch, will actually engage with them. And then, of course, you feel on the edge of society, don't you? People looking down at you.
I think that homelessness is a sign of our society more generally. And so there are people living in survival mode everywhere. There are problems with mental health everywhere. And so as a society, we need to tackle this not as a homeless issue, but we do need to tackle it as part of what do we want our society to be.
What do you think should be done instead to improve the system?
Well, first, if I would work for a charity, kind of, to help homeless people, I would try to talk to the person first and find their needs, Like, are you really addicted of something? Most of them is not, I can promise to you. And if that person will tell you, I really feel good in the nature. There are people who told me, and I'm the same, we don't really feel good in the buildings anymore. We don't want it anymore. If every single city would have a little place on the site, there is many places where you could arrange it. It's 1 hectare, square hectare or 2, for a tent and the person with the sign no alcohol there, that would be the solution. Just let us be. Arrange a place next to the river and let us be, what we want to be. And you will see that the people will start painting, they will start do art, they will start singing, talented, beautiful people on the streets.
I've been missing a bit of common sense, and I've lost my way a little bit. But I'm in Oxford trying to sort it all out and getting my life back together.
You think you'll get there in the end?
I think I will. I think I'm going to try.
And what would you say to people who still think negatively of homeless people?
Go out and talk to them. Go and sit with them. Go down to their level. Go and have a chat with them, and you'll find that most of them are so intelligent and have come from good careers or had good careers, but life is just throwing something in the works that has made them become homeless. But go and have a chat with them, sit down with them, buy them a coffee, buy them a sandwich, listen and learn, and then you might understand that not keep judging and keep with the snide remarks and, oh, he's just a druggie or he's an alkie. Just go and understand about their life from beginning to end.